when it promised but it's 2 to 1. Before the week is out, I'll pray. But frankness is due to one who prays my every kiss.
An average poet. There's moments where this feels like a performative spoken word, and there's moments where it feels like a dry comedy. And it's like one and the same. It's sort of intercut, and sometimes a moment from the poem will drive you into a comedic moment or a dry comedy scene. It's very witty. The dialogue is very witty. The jokes are dry. It's more so that sarcastic, like I'm doing something funny, but I'm not like showing you the joke. It's straight face, deadpan type of funny. We see this especially in the photo shoot, the results of the photo shoot, the ridiculousness that is taking place there and the things the photographer is asking her to do and whatnot. It really gives that like, deadpan. And they play off very well of each other. Both of them have the good comedic timing for that. Her especially because, she was such the center focus for it and some really great moments in there for humor.
An Average Poet is very funny, but more than that, I think the comedy is actually quite inventive and quite surprising and quite unique in places. I think it's also really cool like how it shifts styles and tones like quite seamlessly numerous times. I think it doesn't just keep us engaged and interested. It's actually quite skillful to be able to navigate that without wobbling anywhere. So I think that's really effective. And it's also quite emotionally loaded. I think particularly when it's sort of talking about the insecurities of being a woman in the modern world. It does this clever thing about using the comedy to bring out vulnerability and intimacy, which I think is a great use of comedy to tell something or to express something that's not necessarily in itself funny. And I think it really kind of helps convey like the heart of like what poetry and what storytelling are, which is just really nifty.
An Average Poet. I love this piece. Great kind of genre bending and almost an irony steeped in throughout. There is always some tendency to eye roll at poetry, especially somebody reading it aloud. So it kind of built into that, but also allowed us to really indulge and immerse ourselves in the images. I really liked the framing and the clear artistic vision with each section, the striking bold color schemes at the beginning of the warmth and the fire really permeating, and just a full environment embodiment of the words and ideas from the soundscape to the tone, the playfulness and the shifts of tones. Yeah, I never quite knew what was going to come next, which is exciting.
An Average Poet. An Average Poet, I think it was a good experimental, quite unexpected. I could feel the struggles and the insecurities of the main character when she was on stage, citing the poem. But I also like the way this short just suddenly changes. You have this lady performing a poem, and then she say, "I can be a French girl," and then boom, the full setting and scenario changes, and we see this kind of mini French comedy. And then she leaves the theater, and then she ends up becoming a sort of model. She ends up in a photo shoot. So I think overall it was an interesting short, and with obviously a nice music and a perfect coordination from the main characters. So overall a funny story, but also quite interesting and very well executed. Congratulations.
This was really cool, and I really did like this. I liked what they did with musically, how the music fit kind of the different styles of things when they would go through a transition. And the filmmakers were very smart about how they did their transitions from one element of it to the next. It was very, very clever. I enjoyed that. I thought it was acted really, really well. Everybody was believable, and there were some genuinely funny moments in it that I liked so much. The only thing was at the very beginning, the title cards, there were like 3 different fonts that were used. And it was a little bit like, wait, all of a sudden, like you're going through one font and then it changes and then it abruptly changes again. Maybe just one font throughout the entire thing would have seemed a bit more seamless. But other than that, I thought it was great.
This should be for an average poet. They explore this very cool concept, deep and complex. I love the stage, the streets scouting for the best shot, that opening scene with roaring flames. They talk about self-consciousness, self-doubt. I love the alternative definitions with a newfound confidence. And the music during the photo shoot, and I think she found this new place within herself when the pictures were done. I don't know, I kind of got that. And I love the title. I don't know any poet that's average, so that was brilliant.
We see the poet take center stage and we hop between her words and then this visual expression, helping the audience read between the lines almost and go into a further exploration of these moments of love, life, and humor in between. The "Do you want me to be a French woman" bit kind of sets this tone of dry humor that exists throughout the whole piece. I chuckled as she finished her glass and then kind of spit the remaining liquid in the gentleman's glass to then later on kind of finding the beauty in what we would be considered not so glamorous. This photographer taking pictures of her by a dumpster when there is a clear Instagram worthy background that is sitting behind them. I enjoyed having this black and white musical moment where the nature stretches out across the frame behind her. I would consider this moment to be the most experimental element within the piece. Honestly, the locations, the production design, the costume design, all these pieces coming together really build this appealing world for an average poet such as myself to kind of get lost in.